Hello everybody, how's everybody doing on this Friday? I'm Seth and this is Everyman Prepping, and before we get into today's news stories, we need to do our public service announcement about winter. Yes, winter is coming and you need to get ready for it. Do you have all your winter supplies, all your winter gear? Have you thought about the cold coming? Those of you that have been gardening know that you've done your last harvest probably. You've probably tried to preserve it, do whatever you can. But let me just go through a list of stuff I have here about things you need to think about for winter if you haven't, things you might need to get before, well, it's going to get cold. So starting off, wood. You need lots of wood. If you have a wood-burning stove, a fireplace, some other thing you can burn wood, even if it's a fire pit in the back if you need to do that, stockpile wood. Be the woodpile warlord of your neighborhood. Get as much as you can. You can call landscape companies, have them drop it off. They cut down trees. They hate taking it to the dump and paying dump fees. Get them to bring you wood. Yes, it should be seasoned for a year or so, but hey, get whatever you can now. If it snows, rains, and all that during the winter where you're at, make sure you cover it, tarp it, put it under some kind of overhang so it doesn't get wet. Get wood, plenty of wood. Remember, woodpile warlord is what you want to be for your neighborhood. Next, propane. If you're on natural gas in the city, you have until the government shuts you off. But if you're in the country, you have a propane tank, go out there and see what level it's at and get it refilled. As soon as you're done with this video, you finish liking it and subscribing and commenting and all that, sharing. You get on that phone, you call that propane company, even if you're on a routine schedule, just top that thing off. Along with that, if you have mini propane heaters in your house, Mr. Buddy, Coleman, something that you can use to heat up a room or a certain area, make sure it functions. Get those little green canisters. If you have an attachment for a 20-pound tank, whatever it is, make sure you have plenty of those. All your propane tanks are topped off, ready to go, and you're sitting in the propane department. Now, my next thing on the list, wool blankets. I love wool blankets. I don't get the 100% ones. I get the 90% wool. They're not as itchy, but they're great. I have at least 2 per person in the house. I got them in the vehicles. I got them in the bug out bags. I got them everywhere. Wool blankets are great. Make sure you have plenty of wool blankets. And I'll put some links in the description for all this stuff I'm talking about, some of the things in case you need to find them. But wool blankets are great. If you still have electricity, you can buy those little portable, electric heaters, that are room to room. You can use those to supplement some heat. So you don't have to heat up the whole house. You just heat up the area you're in with a little portable heater. So look at getting some of those. If you don't, if you have them, plug them in. Make sure they work. All right, what else do we have? Tea light candles, any kind of candles. They produce a little bit of heat. Oil lamps. Got to make sure you don't burn your house down. You can look online on YouTube here about how to make a tea light heater, all that. So you might want to invest in some candles and tea lights. Like I said, be careful. Don't burn your house down. Be careful of the kids and all that. Next, winter clothing. Stockpile it. Get all of it now. If you don't have the money to buy it, because we all know clothes are expensive, go to thrift stores. A lot of churches right now and other organizations have clothing drives right now. If you don't have the money, don't be embarrassed. Don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. That's why they do these drives. Go there, pick up some, sweaters, coats, flannel, mitten, gloves, hats, whatever it may be. Because, you can layer that and put it inside the house. Layer it all inside your house and be in your house. So if you've done all this, you've got your clothing on in the house, multiple layers, you got your heaters, you got your electric blankets, you got your wool blankets. By the way, electric blankets, I love them. If you don't need to heat up your bedroom at night, turn on the electric blanket for 30 minutes or so before you go to bed. Heat it up, turn it off. Don't sleep with that thing on. You'll get EMFs, and who knows what happens to you. But then you get into bed, and you're good. Anyway, you got that. You got your propane. You got your wood. You burned the wood stove for a while. All that, and you're still cold. You got to move. Moving around, exercise. You can jog in place, push-ups, jumping jacks, whatever you can do. If you're not that mobile, you're older, you're injured or whatever, move something. Walk fast, jog, limp fast, whatever you got to do. Move around causes heat. So that's all I have. That's my little public service on winter coming up. Just check all your winter stuff. Go through it. It all works. You have it stockpiled. Your family's going to be warm and toasty. Do it now. Moving on from that, let's just go through some top news stories because, well, knowledge is power, right? So let's get into this here. We're just going to go through some of what I've selected out this morning from X, which I find is a great news source. If you can kind of sift through the crap, there's a lot of good news out there that you can get through. So what are we starting with here today? Washington Post will not endorse a candidate first time since the 1980s. LA Times said the same thing. What are they doing? What's going on? They are almost a guarantee to endorse the Democratic candidate. Why wouldn't they be doing it now? Something's up. Something's up with this election. There's something, Trump is out there leading. They're saying that, it's almost like it's a sure win. It's a foregone conclusion. Reminds me of what they said for Hillary in 2016. Something's off. Without media, with the media organizations not endorsing Kamala, something's weird's going on. We just gotta keep our head on a swivel on that one. Then we have this TSMC chip plant in Phoenix. TSMC chip plant in Phoenix they're saying it has great yields, higher than Taiwan, which is great because we're going to lose Taiwan soon. China's going to go after it. They're going to take it, and there goes chip manufacturing. Now, can this Arizona plant replace everything in Taiwan? No way, not even close, but it's something, and they'll probably use it for high-end stuff, probably military, other stuff before you see it. Still going to be a very huge hardship when China does hit Taiwan, but it's good to see we got some homegrown stuff going on here. That's great. Good news here. See, it's not all bad news. We get some good news. All right, moving on from that. In Virginia, we have federal judges, not only in Virginia, but federal judges throughout the country saying, put those non-citizens back on the voter rolls. So, like I said with the election, weird stuff, check out this article. The governor of Virginia says he's going to fight it, but right now they're told to put non-citizens back on the voter rolls. Let them vote. Why not? What's that? We don't need that crazy thing called the Constitution where you need be a citizen to vote. Moving on from there, we see this Boeing explores the sale of its space business. Well, we know what that probably, they just lost the satellite. The Boeing just, said it blew up. I don't know how satellites blow up. There's not a lot of combustible material in a satellite. Yeah, they have batteries and other things in there, but usually they fail, fall out of orbit, burn up, but they specifically said blew up. So was that Russia, China, another state actor testing some of their anti-satellite weapons? And no one wants to admit to it? Maybe, but Boeing did have something blow up, and of course they stranded those other astronauts on the space station, so probably going to be, like it says, they're taken over by SpaceX. And the McDonald's fiasco, the day after Donald Trump did his great press thing, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, CDC says, oh, people are dropping dead at McDonald's. It's the onions now. Don't eat onions. Don't eat vegetables. We can't keep vegetables clean. So it's up to 75 now. 75 people sick. McDonald's stock's taking it in the rear end, and well, it's not getting any better. So, like I said before, yesterday, the other day, don't believe in coincidences. And then we have, of course, more weird election stuff. Arizona officials, it will take 2 weeks to tabulate the election results. Taiwan did an election. They counted everything, paper ballots, by hand, in front of everybody, in front of the news cameras. It's like 6 hours, done. Yes, Taiwan's a lot smaller, but this is just Arizona. They said it's going to take them 2 weeks. That's ridiculous. We're a laughingstock of the world on our elections. And then you have the New York Stock Exchange saying, let's go 24/7. Let's trade stock 24/7. Let's try to do that melt up before it blows up as fast as we can. Let's just trade stock all the time, try to ramp it up, take all the money we can out of people because they're buying stock 24/7 now before it all dies. This is a sign that death is coming when you start wanting to trade 24/7. You're trying to eke every ounce of money out of the system before it dies. And then, talked about Taiwan. China, the United States fears their hypersonic weapons, so they want to put Patriots on ships. Well, we got Patriots in Ukraine and Israel and some other batteries we delivered that. So we're getting a little thin here on the old Patriots, so I'd like to see how this is going to work out. And then we're going to, of course, like I said, the West is losing their mind. North Korean troops in Ukraine are fair game to attack, says the White House. First of all, they're just in Russia, and I believe they're going to stay in the Kursk region of Russia. But now they're saying it's against the international law that North Korea can't do this. I don't know how we can say that when the U.S. literally has troops in a lot of countries, but let's just pick Syria. Inside of Syria, sovereign country, uninvited, fighting wars, doing military stuff, and that's okay. No one says anything about it, but North Korea wants to send troops? Yeah, that's why the U.S. is losing a lot of their status these days. There's just a lot of hypocrisy. All right, what else we have here? Navy needs advanced guns and cheaper missiles to defend against drone swarms. So they are worried about drone swarms. I'd be worried too. When you see those awesome night displays, you got dragons walking across the sky made out of drones. Imagine equipping each one of those little drones with a small explosive, and you send 1,000 of those at an aircraft carrier, at a military base. You kind of get my point. China's shown great ability to make great sky effects with drones. They can militarize those, right? So that's coming. We got a few more stories. Let's hit them really quick here on this Friday, get you on your way. Going to the Middle East here, we have this one. You're like, what the heck does that say? Well, let's translate this really quick. And this is from a journalist over, in Iran. And according to this guy, he says, all security centers affiliated with the Basij forces of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard have been placed on full alert as a result of the Iranian regime's fears of a possible major Israeli strike that includes the oil and military facility, which may motivate people to take to the streets. It's going to motivate Iran to want to try to decimate Israel. So people getting antsy over there. Something's going to happen soon, I think. This weekend we might see something. It'll be before the election, and we're like 10 days away, so just be advised of that. Plan accordingly for that. Get what you need now. And then we have this. A large convoy of more than 300 UNIFIL vehicles is on the way to southern Lebanon. These are basically UN peacekeepers in Lebanon. They're supposed to keep peace between Hezbollah and Israel. I believe what these are going to be. These are going to be human shields, UN shields that are going to southern Lebanon to stop Israel from indiscriminately turning that area into looking like Gaza. So I think that's why they're going down there. They're not really going to keep the peace. They're there to hopefully not get killed. All right, Hezbollah targets Tel Aviv with large Iranian missiles launched from underground silos. I put this in here because, just to give you an idea, if Hezbollah has these giant underground silos to shoot rockets, what do you think Israel has? How many do you, not Israel. What do you think Iran has? How many do you think Iran has? And, Israel's going in there to try to bomb them. If Iran wants to launch, they could probably launch thousands at a time, not just a couple hundred. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to those people. And then what do we have here? That's an old story there. I think that's all I have for today. Let's go ahead and back it out, let you get it back on with the day. Those are the top stories I have that I'm looking at, paying attention to. So hopefully you got something out of it. Remember, go through your winter preps now. Get them ready now before there's a rush, especially if we start turning into a very kinetic thing with Israel, Iran, China, Taiwan, anything like that. It's going to really hit the supply chain. So you don't want to be left behind the power curve. So do all those winter preps, and until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.